Hello and welcome to the Friday Climbing Daily Gear Show. Now I'm not in the studio this week, instead I've come here to Gaillon in the heart of Chamonix to test this, the Edelrid OHM. So the Edelrid OHM is designed for when your climbing partner is either bigger or heavier than you are. If they take a fall and there's a weight imbalance, the B layer tends to get dragged up the wall to meet them somewhere in the middle. Now, before I show you this in action, I'm going to pass you over to one of the designers at Edelrid to tell you a little bit more.
The whole secret is basically the geometry of this cam unit here that is integrated in here. And so while you're climbing, it always hangs like this, and the rope can run through it smoothly, like back and forth, without any effect. But as soon as a climber falls, the first quick draw, you can also see this when you climb with a normal quick draw setup, that they get tensed, like they put themselves in this direction in case of a fall. And this is where we came up with the idea to integrate this camming unit, that in this position, the rope gets drawn into that camming unit, and only in this case, it adds friction to the whole system.
Thanks, Philippe. Now, one of the solutions to this weight difference is to tie your B layer down, either using one of those sort of bags you see at climbing walls, or a bolt attached to the ground, or a Gaillon, there's actual rocks with bolts in them. Now, this has some disadvantages. Number one is it restricts your movement. You can't come towards the wall to quickly give slack. You feel sort of tied down and restricted, and also it's impractical sometimes. If you're climbing in a crag up in the mountains, there isn't necessarily going to be a weight bag waiting for you. The Edelrid OHM is one of these solutions to this weight difference problem. So what happens is, when the climber falls, the device moves upwards with the rope threaded through it. There's a V shape in the device, and that traps the rope, adding friction to the system and slowing your B layer down. Now, with the Edelrid OHM, you can either attach the rope beforehand, clip it onto your harness, and then when you get to that first bolt, you can attach it. I reckon that's the easiest way. Or you could theoretically have it already pre-attached, pull through the rope, and when your next climber climbs up, they then have to open it and slip the rope inside and then close the system. I reckon that's a bit fiddly, and if I was doing it, I would always have it attached and then clip it in as you climb. So that's the theory behind how the device works. Now we need to see it in action. So the first test is going to be with me belaying and Jack, one of our buyers at EpicTV, climbing. Now, there isn't a huge weight difference between this, but I wanted to test it out and see how it felt for myself. So that was a good first test, but there isn't a huge weight difference between me and Jack. I'm carrying a little extra Christmas weight. But Jake here is considerably lighter than me. He is the copywriter at the EpicTV office, so he is going to be our crash test dummy on a heavier weight with the OHM.
Can't wait.
So Jake, you survived the crash test. There's about 20 kilograms of difference in weight between you and Jack, especially with that backpack on. The fall when you didn't have the OHM in the system, that was quite a violent one. Just talk me through that.
Yeah, it just felt like I just got pulled and then just kept getting pulled up the wall, like there wasn't really anything to stop me. Like I could kind of put my feet out, but even though I got my feet out, like you really have to just, control it's just violent.
You almost met him.
Exactly, yeah. Unless I had something to stop me, like really get low down, then you just get straight into it. So.
Okay, and the second one with the OHM attached to the system, did that feel different?
Really good, actually. Yeah. I still got pulled in a little bit, but I kind of just had, one foot on the wall and then I stopped. So I still got pulled in, but just like didn't go any higher. So
it's just an extra element of friction in the system just to slow that whole thing down.
Basically, yeah.
All right, mate. Well, nice one for surviving. Get back to work. See you later. So there you go, Jake survived, even though there was quite a bit of weight difference between the two of them. For me, what I'm impressed with the OHM with is the amount of confidence it's going to give your B layer. They're not worried that they're suddenly going to get dragged into the wall, hit the head, drop the climber. It just gives the climber that extra ability to climb without worrying about your B layer. Now, there are some things you have to be careful with the OHM. Number one is always read the instruction manual that comes with it, because you can do some things wrong that make it unsafe. The other thing is be careful when climbing low down on a route. It's the same with normal climbing. If your climber slips when they're 2 bolts off the ground with a bunch of slack in, they're going to come really close to hitting the ground, and that's not going to change with the ohm. And on that note, be careful how much slack you're giving out. The ohm works better when there's about maybe 1 meter maximum of slack in the system. Otherwise it takes too long for the ohm to come up, create that friction and slow down the climber. So I've read online about a few other disadvantages with the ohm that might crop up. One of them is that I've heard that sometimes when clipping it can be a bit grabby on the rope. Now, we didn't experience that today. Jack climbed quite a lot off camera and he told me that he felt no difference in the rope, but I've read about it, so I feel like I should tell you guys. So if you have experienced that, please comment below and let me know. Another thing to consider is don't let the ohm give you bad habits. It's very unusual that your climbing partners are going to be the same weight as you, and there is a skill to learning how to belay someone who's heavier. Using the ohm sort of gives you a full sense of security. So remember to learn how to do belaying properly and be really good at it. Perhaps do that before moving on to the ohm. I reckon that the ohm is going to be used mainly in indoor climbing walls. That's because there's less friction on those things anyway, because they're just usually straight up routes and the walls are quite smooth. I reckon these are going to be installed in climbing walls in the near future. But in the meantime, if you climb with someone who's heavier than you on a regular basis, I would genuinely consider picking up an ohm. It just gives that extra sort of peace of mind for you and element of safety. As always, with every gear show, we want to know your opinion on the kit that we use. Do you hate it? Do you love it? Do you use it on a regular basis? Has it got massive failings? I don't care what you think, as long as you tell us by commenting below. Okay guys, that's all we've got time for today. Thanks for watching. See you soon.